How's everybody doing? I was doing so much better, but I came back and the temperature, the changing of the climate, and I had jet lag. I was in the air for 24 hours it seemed. I left one side of the globe and come to at day and enter the other globe of the earth at night, deep night. Oh my goodness. Oh, I had a wonderful time. And I have lots of videos and pictures for all of you to see on my Facebook page and also on YouTube. I took a lot of videos and I did something historical, something educational for you. And but you know what? I lost all those videos. I don't know how it didn't upload right. By the time I got back, many of the pictures didn't go in. I need to change my plan because I think that there's something going on with that. But we talked. We are now in part 6 of our series, and now we are going to talk about the fire and air. We're still dealing with compatibility. We dealt with the compatibility of water and earth. No sense for me to talk about the water signs as compared to compatibility with earth because I've already took care that from earth to water. It's interchangeable. But I am going to do a couple of more specialized compatibility of each of the signs because so many of you have been requesting specific compatibility signs that I do not have in my series and had no thought of putting in my series. But because of you and because I had such a big turnout of people, and that reminds me, I'm gonna have to change my voting page and put other suggestions. Okay, so if you're still casting votes, please don't do so because I'm doing the compatibility. I'm gonna add more questions for future series, and then if you have yourself some series that you also want me to talk about or introduce, I will do that as well. Some of you asked for numerology to do the life path, and to talk about that. So, God, I used to do that a lot back in my 20s. So I'm definitely going to do a series about numerology and how the numbers interplay with the name of your birth, right? Your given name, and also that of the day that you were born and the year. These are all very, very important information, and they all carry different rates of vibration. You have the life path, you have the relationship path, you have the karmic and destiny path, you have lots of paths. In all, there are 32 paths, which corresponds with the tree of life, the Kabbalah, the 32 paths of the 10 Sephiroth of the tree of life. So that we can definitely talk about. But today, we're going to talk about Aries and the compatibility of Aries with air. And we're going to also talk about Leo, and we're going to talk about Sagittarius. And we're going to see if I can put at least all of them into 50 minutes. 25 part 1, 25 part 2, possibly part 3. I'm trying to congest and put as much valuable information as possible. That is because it's so hard to put everything into one series, and the human attention span, like I say, is no more than 20 minutes, and I do 25. And I did that for the women than the men because I think there's more information to give about women than there is about men. Although the information to arrive about men for women is equally as complex, So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to talk about Mr. Aries. You have to understand that Aries is the ram, the fire sign. Okay, it's no surprise that those born under the astrological sign of the ram would be people who are, how could I say, uh, difficult to say the least. The one thing that you have to understand about Aries, okay, is that he or she doesn't know you exist. Now, let me specify by what I mean about that. I need to. I just got a message. That's why I paused there. Sometimes I get these messages. Aries is not really concerned about you. I know that sounds harsh. It's not that. You have to understand the fire signs and the air signs are very impersonal. They're very impersonal. Now, do you know what I mean when I say the word impersonal? They are very impersonal. The air signs are sociable, right? The air signs are sociable. And Libra is concerned with fair treatment among human beings, proper decorum, rightful action, and maintaining a sense of balance. And this is applied to anything and everything that the Libra man and the Libra woman does. But it happens in different modalities of character and expression relating to the ego of each particular person. Okay? So Gemini also deals with socialization. It also deals with interaction. It also deals with wanting to know and being in the know constantly. Aquarius, out of all three air signs, seems to be the most impersonal. What do I mean by impersonal? Well, it's in the word. You have personal, which means like personal. Like, I want to talk to you. Can I talk to you? I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you concerning. Hold on, let me adjust this for a second, because I'm about to get a call, and I don't want to get the call right now. Just so happens that when I do these videos, all kinds of things be happening. Anyway, I need something. Can I ask you something? Can I borrow a couple of dollars? Can I get something to eat? Can you help me with maybe giving me a mini pad? So that's personal. Impersonal means that you could care hair or name. You could give a fuck what your needs are. And not in a mean way. I don't mean it in a mean way. They don't even think if you have anything personal that may be bothering you, or if you have any needs. The air signs are not concerned with your personal needs. Initially, they're not concerned. What they are concerned about is how everything looks like from the outside. As long as you look okay, and you look like you feel okay, then they're not going to go any further into trying to find out what's really going on with you. You have to understand. Oh, look, I have a little crack here. That's vitamin A deficiency and C of my drinking. I know. I'm changing that around. I'm drinking myself some coffee. It's just another stimulant, it's another drug, but I gotta slow it down. But understand that with Aquarius, the impersonality becomes worse, much worse. It's much worse. They don't have a clue as to what your problems are, and they don't want to know. Aquarius is the most impersonal you're gonna ever get. So if you are a feeling type, an emotional type, someone that requires empathy, and it's empathic, then you cannot be with an Aquarius man or an Aquarius woman. The Aquarian woman is more feeling and more sympathetic than the Aquarian man will ever be. The problem with the Aquarian woman is that she's not going to show it. She's not going to show it. If you come to her and you're crying because something happened and you just, she'll be there with you, but she ain't going to cry with you. She ain't. And she will appear even more impersonal if she sees that kind of emotional display or what air signs determine to be weakness. Because to be emotional to the air signs, it's a form of weakness to them. Oh, they're not going to tell you that openly. And they'll fight you. Libra, butch. Remember, butch. Fight you. Fight you. The Aquarian man will say, I don't know what you're talking about. And he'll try to convince you that you're the one who's crazy. And Gemini will act indifferently. She'll even act, or he'll even act like they didn't even hear the question. They'll see your pain and they'll see your emotional, personal need, and they'll act like they don't see it. That's Gemini. What does that mean? Does that mean that these people don't give a fuck about other human beings? No. Because they're just as emotional as the fire signs and the earth and the water signs are. The air signs are afraid of even the concept of emotions. Empathy, a human feeling. But, hold on 1 second. I have to write this message. And it happened right in the middle of the cast. I'm so sorry. Yes, you can. Yes, give me 40 minutes to talk. Okay, because I've been so busy running the theater, my show is this week. And I just came back from vacation. I'm a little backed up on my work and on my other clients, which is, it could be you that I'm texting, So my subscribers always come first. So if you see me stopping and I'm doing a text, it's because one of you guys are calling me and talking to me, and I'm responding as I'm doing this video. Because, I'm under 1,000 subscribers, but if I get to 10,000, I'm not going to have this kind of privilege to talk to you and directly answer to you. So if you guys want to talk to me and do something, do it now before it gets really, really packed. Not that I'm throwing ego to myself, but I'm a Virgo, so I have to develop a system. And the more my subscriber base grows, the more difficult it will be for me to give more personal time and attention. Well, anyway, that's the situation going on. It's not that they are afraid of being emotional, of losing control, of not being able to intellectualize what they're feeling and what they're processing. Because if they cannot make sense intellectually of what they're feeling and what they're processing, then they're not going to respect it. Not from themselves and not from anybody else. And that's one of the mysteries behind illness. Okay? Only 1 second, please. Okay, trust. Okay. Now, like I said, these reactions to feelings and emotions by the air signs is because the emotions embarrasses them. Emotional displays embarrasses them. They're not even comfortable with their own emotions. So how are they going to give a fuck about you? Now, again, this is not coming from a mean-spirited space among the air signs. Is that they have to have constant control of their environment, their internal environment as well as the external environment. And the vehicle that they feel is most reliable to allow them to understand the world around them and also the inner complexities of who they are for themselves relies on the intellectual body. They rely on the intellectual body as a vehicle for them to understand and figure out the world around them and the nature of who they are themselves and those of others. And they want this to be logical and they want this to make sense and they don't want any kind of gray area. The air signs can't stand gray areas. They have to have an answer for every situation, for every problem, for any dilemma, or any puzzle, riddle, mystery of life. And they don't go by theory, they don't go by conjecture, they don't go by mythology, and they don't even listen, most of my clients that really give me a hard time are the air signs. The worst being Libra. Because they don't believe. I have a girlfriend of mine. I have a couple of girlfriends that are Libras and I've known them all my life. They've known me all my life. And they see what I do. They see the success that I have with people and helping people. Not making this about ego. But with all of that. Because, time reveals everything. Time is your best friend and it could be your worst enemy. If you're a charlatan, you're going to be ratted out over time. If you're the real deal, it will last and stand the test of time. And even with that law being universal, which is very Saturnian, the Libra signs don't buy it. They may believe it if it suits them, and then if it doesn't suit them, they throw the whole shit out. Which can make Libra kind of very wishy-washy. No, especially if you're dealing with the lower evolved types. And lower evolved type doesn't have to always necessarily mean bad person. It could be someone who's just completely unaware. It could be a new soul who's just learning to be a Libra in this lifetime and might need to learn those principles, which what made him be born a Libra, to learn those principles. And the same with all the other signs. So understand that the air signs, if we can put it in one word, they don't give a shit about how you feel and what it is that's causing you to feel that way. I know it sounds mean and it sounds fucked up. And it's not personal. Like I said, they are uncomfortable because they cannot measure it and they cannot put it under a microscope and find out why the feelings are there. If they can extrapolate it out of their bodies, they would. That's why the air signs are the ones that have problems with illness. I can't tell you how many air signs I have met with all kinds of diseases and ailments that when you look, especially those who've been clients of mine, when you look, 1 second, when you look at any problem like an illness, and we're going to do a series on illness and what really is the mystery of God behind illness. When you have an illness, when an illness strikes any of the air signs, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's some kind of emotion that's blocked, not dealt with, not want to be looked at. And these emotional cells of the spiritual body begin to collect in certain places. And the more you avoid emotion, the more you avoid confrontation, the more you avoid truth, not from an intellectual base, but from an emotional base, you're going to get sick. The same thing with the intellect. The same thing with the intellect. If you're an emotional person and you don't listen and follow reason and logic to temper the emotion, you're going to get a disease and illness based on the fact that you're not using the intellectual faculties in order to balance these emotional states. The elements are just as important as anything else in the birth chart. Okay? Very important. If I see in a birth chart a disparity of elements, too much water, too much earth, too much air, too much fire, then there's a disbalance. And in this lifetime, you're here to correct that balance. And that happens through the interaction of relationships. The universe brings to you what you need in a person. And once a relationship breaks, it's not really because of the reason that you think. The universe has other plans. And maybe you outlived the usefulness of that relationship and now you have to move on, go on. Because we are in a state of evolving, constantly evolving. Nothing is allowed to be stagnant in nature. So therefore, if things don't evolve, they degenerate. So what kind of relationship are you in? One that is evolving or one that is degenerating? And why is it degenerating? Is it because you're both young? Or is there an inappropriateness in the age disparity between your partner and you? Or is it differences of culture? Is it differences of philosophy and political ideas? What is it that's making the relationship fall? And can you repair it? Can this be a test? Or is this a final resolution? It's over. The usefulness that you needed to experience with this particular person is done, and now you must move on. How do you know? How do you know what state in the evolution of a relationship are you in? That's important to understand. Now, I said that I was going to talk about Aries, and I ended up talking about the air signs of Libra. But again, we're still dealing with the realm of compatibility, because fire and air go together. But I have to really explain to you, and I guess what I should have done is done a separate series on the elements, but I can blend it all in. Otherwise, I have too many videos. So I can blend it all in, because I want all of this to kind of make intellectual sense. And then I want you to feel the truth in addition to see the truth intellectually. And check in other websites or other YouTube to see if other astrologers are talking about the same thing. And yeah, the air signs, remember there's three modalities: there's cardinal, mutable, and fixed. The cardinal air is probably the most, I said Aquarius was. He is the most impersonal in his behavior, his detachment, his indifference. But the sign that's really most impersonal when it comes to the discipline of relationships will be Libra. The cardinal air, the highest expression of the elements. And they're going to express truly an impersonal aura of philosophy that doesn't include the emotion as a reasonable validation for logic. And that's tough. Yeah. And we are done. We are going to go back and really talk about Aries.